Hi, folks, and welcome to the Star Wars Library, where Star Wars is in print. Now, we're going to be going on to the next arc in the Marvel Star Wars series, and it is issues 18 through 23. And guess what? I don't have them as single issues. So, oh no! So, what you can do is, so I can't really show you the covers, unfortunately. So, I apologize in advance. Unfortunately, all that I showed you in the previous episodes were the only. Well, I shouldn't say that. There's a few more later on in our chronology that we'll get to. But pretty much the rest of my collection in the EU, that includes the Marvel Star Wars, is all in trades, such as this one here. So, the uh, the beginning of this series up until issue number 21. So issues 1 through 20 are found in A Long Time Ago, Volume 1 um, by Dark Horse, and then of course this is their one collection of it that they have, and then of course you can get their omnibus, and Marvel's been putting out the awesome epic collections. I actually have a few of them on my shelf. Um, so there's tons of ways for you to get it. So unfortunately, folks, I can't really be showing you the covers. Uh, Physically for right now, at least with the Marvel stuff. It's most of it, pretty much the rest of it is in trades. So, anyways, this is actually the cover to issue 21, essentially. But let's go ahead and let's talk about this next series or this next arc. So it's a new arc, and it's focusing a little bit more on the Empire. We finally now are going to be seeing that they are bringing the Empire back into the story as kind of the bad guys. Um, Up until now, we've really only been getting pirates, bounty hunters, that kind of thing. So now the Empire is going to start making a presence again, and of course, we get to see, for example, in this arc, Darth Vader himself finally making an appearance. So, this began in 1978, and then it's going to end, or this arc is going to end in early 1979. So when we get to there, um, it's going to end in 79. So issue 18 is called The Empire Strikes. Then, of course, you have Ultimate Gamble, Death Game, Shadow of the Dark Lord, To the Last Gladiator, and Flight into Fury. So, what is what's the story of this? What is the overall summary? Well, our characters have now all been reunited. And so they're all in the Millennium Falcon. They're all having a good time. And Luke is practicing his lightsaber skills, and he kind of opens himself up to the Force while doing it, kind of unintentionally. Um, but he then gets bombarded with like all of this dark side energy, and he then goes into this comatose state. So by the dark side, I guess, overwhelming him. So the gang are now trying to go to this place called the Wheel, essentially on a trying to find a way to help Luke. And they're going to this place called the Wheel, and going here, they encounter this Imperial ship that is supposedly carrying all these credits and stuff like that, and they think that maybe that might be a way they can help find somebody who can help Luke. So what is the Wheel? What is this Wheel thing? Well, the Wheel is a space station, or it's kind of an outpost for gambling, and it's run by a former senator named Simon Greyshade. Now, what's kind of interesting about um, Simon Greyshade, and going to his story a little bit, he actually is a former, like I said, and former senator. Now, as we all know, in episode 4, the Imperial Senate was disbanded by the Emperor, obviously, in A New Hope. So they actually connect him later on in the Star Wars universe. They connect him to Attack of the Clones. So you remember that scene in Attack of the Clones when Anakin takes the yellow speeder that he takes the yellow speeder and he's going to go get Obi-Wan so they can go chase Zam Wesell in that speeder chase near the beginning of the movie. They actually reveal that that speeder is actually Greyshade's speeder, which is kind of interesting. And so they're able to connect it to the prequel trilogy, which I thought was really cool. Just some in the Marvel series, were connecting to the prequels. In fact, the wheel is also then referenced, or mentioned, I should say, in the Legacy series that Dark Horse will do much later on. So just kind of some things right there that they're picking up from the Marvel series and they're putting it into the movies and then to the Dark Horses comics. So again, just another cool thing about the expanded universe. There's so much continuity, and that's why we love it, right? So, anyways, so they get left. So they get, So, anyways, going back to the wheel. Excuse me. So obviously, and former imperial senator, they get kind of left alone. Like the empire doesn't really mess with them because they pay taxes. Or use the revenue that they get, or some of the revenue that they get to pay taxes to the empire. So the empire kind of just lets them do whatever the heck they want. And so um, the Empire, I guess, at this point says, you know what? We want to take the wheel over. We want to make it ours. We're going to make full 100% profit on it because we oversee, we're in charge of the galaxy. So we're going to do this. So Luke, so while this is going on, I don't want to give too many spoilers, but ultimately what happens is Luke wakes up and but he's still kind of foggy or still kind of in this state. He's not completely cured when he wakes up, and he thinks that Darth Vader's chasing him. That Darth Vader's still trying to get him. It's revealed that it's not Vader. It's his. He's attacking others in his environment, which is until he kind of comes out of that fogginess. So Leia then is also targeted by Gray Shade because he suddenly gets a thing for her. He's like, well, I if I want her because she's the one thing or person I can't have, and it's kind of weird. And then Han and Chewie are then eventually separated, and they're manipulated into this arena where they can fight one another, and Han has to like fake his death so Chewie can then smuggle him out, and then they escape. It's a very strange story arc to say the least. And then ultimately, of course, Gray Shade is killed. And then it goes into the next arc where all of our heroes are split up again. So when the next arc begins, all of our heroes are off doing each of them is doing their own thing, and so they're not all together anymore. They've parted ways. Something a little interesting about it is, again, this is Archie Goodwin still writing, and Carmine Infantino and Gene Day doing the art. And so, for example, just want to show you something here in one of the issues going through here. It's just a little weird at how the art is. So, for example, like looking at like Luke's hair, like look at those long blonde locks. It's a little strange, like I said at times. Like, and then Han has got like these flowing locks on a what is it, issue 22. Um, so again, it's just, I mean, you would think that they've seen the film, but I mean, whatever. So, anyways, so this next Marvel series, issues 18 to 23, is this an essential read? Again, if you're not reading the Marvel series, I feel like I'm a broken record at this point. I keep saying this, but if you are not reading the Marvel series and you don't want to read it, again, it can be skipped. I said on the last episode, issue 17 of Crucible might actually be worth your time, even if you're not reading the Marvel books. But if you're not, of course, don't bother. If you are, I would also say, I don't know if this arc in the series is essential for you to check out. Um, I will say that, and we'll talk about it in the next episode, or later on, I should say. But I will say that if you uh, don't care to find how our heroes are separated in the next arc, this can be skipped. But if you want to know exactly how they got separated and how all that stuff went down, I would encourage you to read through this. Again, it's not bad, but it is definitely a little abstract or exotic kind of a story, to say the least. It's not your typical Star Wars, and so it's ultimately up to you if you want to check it out. But do I have it in my collection? Of course, because I'm a completist when it comes to the expanded universe. But again, it's completely up to you. So, thanks for joining me, folks. Join us next time where we are going to again continue through our Marvel coverage, and we'll see you then. May the Force be with you.